going to hear today is going to change your ideas about the history of Spain in the New World. And I'm very excited about this because one of the things that Dr. Garcia is very passionate about, as well as I am, is that anything that we write is going to be based on what's written in the archives. Nothing made up, nothing of, everything is going to come out of those archives, including, I'm very happy that Dr. Jorge Luis Garcia decided to come to El Paso to present his book, his newest book, which is Presidio, Soldados del Rey. Everything that he has used in his book, and really any of his books, is completely documented. You can actually go and find these documents in archives. So it's wonderful for you because if you're interested in history, you're going to be able to see it. Without further ado, I want to tell you a little bit about Dr. Jorge Luis Garcia. He is a doctor in archaeology from Complutense in Madrid. Studied archaeology, came here to the United States, is now teaching history, and worked as an archaeologist. So he is from Spain, and he has been here for over 10 years. He is a professor at the University of
Texas University.
Okay. So, without further ado, I want to present you my friend and fellow historian. Thank you, Dr. Garcia.
Well, can you hear me in the back, right?
Yes.
If not, we have some free seats here. You can come close. Okay. So yes, that's correct. Coming here, my first, I had a question. Some people in San Antonio give me a question, make me a question. Is Texas with X or is Texas with J? And well, it's both Texas with X and Texas with J. In that moment, the X is like Mexico today, it's written with X and sounds like J. But that leads to a research about 3 months, 5 months. And I was just reading pulling the thread, and I discovered a lot of things. I discovered that history in the United States, history in Texas is written mostly by myths, not by documents. And most of those documents that some historians just use, in some way they misinterpret or change, or just in some cases just lies. So the only way for me to fight in that environment, to make my place here, was to use documents. So I'm not affiliated to any organization, so I'm not interested, I'm not seized in one way or the other. So the book in this case is a product of 10 years of research, only original documents in every big and small archives that we have in Spain, in Mexico, in the United States. So the only thing I did was to clean that those documents, because we have documents for 4,000 pages, and you don't need to know everything on those documents. So the only way to make my place was to get credibility. How do you get that? Don't lie, basically. Just show the documents, and you reach your conclusions. And it's the reader who decide if want to believe the myths or the documents I presented you. And this book is about 200 documents, original documents, written by the people living in that time, not people coming here 100 years ago. No, people living in that time by his own hands. And you will see, this is a result, but I started to investigate the mission reports in San Antonio de Guadalupe. And the result is here in those books. So you can check, you can pass it if you want people to see it. And that was the first step. So I wasn't really interested in because I'm an archaeologist, and archaeologists need to be working in the field. But I didn't get a job in archaeology, so I started to use my other side, which is history. And in history, using that, I didn't pay much attention to the original records of the mission until one day I say, okay, I have nothing to do this week. So those are the original documents of the mission. In those books, we have 3 books, books about the baptismal, the marriages, and the burials. These recorded every single soul that lived in the mission. You know what we have about the missions, the slavery, the forced camps, all that narrative. So well, after studying these documents, I get the conclusion that all is a big lie. So people were at the mission because we had Pacific Indians and we have aggressive Indians, and they were killing each other in that place. So the Pacific Indians just asked the Spaniards to establish a mission, which at the end is like a pueblo. They have their own mayor and concealments and all that to protect them from the aggressive natives. This is the main learn that I got from this document. This is the original document. This is the baptismal book. You see, like here's a small piece of art. Beautiful. There it is. So this is the original cover, leather, you know. I'm gonna pass this very fast. And at the end, this is the 3 books. It's an exact copy of the original. I didn't add any single comma, any single data. So what is in the original document with this complicated reading, so I make it readable, just to transcribe the document exact, point by point, comma by comma. And then we do a translation. That is the book you have for. It's a good translation, okay? And this is one of the pages. And this is the result. So I try to respect the structure of the book, right? This is the original document, how it is. People at the archive, they offer me some gloves, and I say, no, I don't want to touch this. So you give me high definition pictures, and I work with high definition pictures to get the real stuff. This is in some cases it's very difficult to get the information in those documents, right? And imagine this is the entierros, the burial book. So even we have a lack of material, and in some cases it's very difficult to read because the ink, which is a pigment, just goes through the paper and in the back, go through the new. Hard time. And in other cases it's like this. So it's a pigment made with water and a pigment, and those books were maybe in a ceiling and getting water up there, and the water just washed the ink and put it in the middle, so it was very difficult. And the good point of this is that I make a database. I just dump all the data that I have in the books to a database, and that's make that thing beautiful, because the narrative so far was the mission was like a restaurant. So the Spaniards can open a mission and just accept customers. No, this is not the case, because many of those records, almost all of those records, these numbers, I have a very big, is the family. It's one record related to the son, to the grandpa, and that means that in that mission we have like a very short group, but a strong group of families living in the mission for 80 years. That means 4 or even 5 generations living in the missions. And the missions, we have only one friar and one soldier. The soldier is protecting the friar. So, now, the conclusion of this is how an old friar and a single soldier could keep enslaved 4 generations of family for 80 years. So the point is that the missions wasn't a concentration camp or an enslavement camp. They were offering protection to some of the natives against other natives. And that was the point. You cannot keep working. If you go to the Louisiana and have a picture of the plantations, how it works, a plantation. So you have 300 black slaves, and you have over 20 or 30 people riding horses with lashes and with guns to keep the slaves working. This is very different than the missions. The mission wasn't intended for slavery. Only one friar and one soldier cannot do the work of 40 months keeping the blacks working. So, after all of this, we have the mission. This is San Jose mission, very beautiful mission. It's complete. This is just a small representation of the mission. This is something in Santa Fe. Everything that I'm showing you are documents, are real stuff that we get everywhere. And I get from Louisiana, from Santa Fe, from California, so it's not a single point because it's from everywhere, and the conclusions is putting together all this information, all this data. Because yes, we have also bad people and good people, and this is something that we cannot just forget, right? But the point is that the bad people were exceptions, not the generic way of working in the Spanish Empire in that time. We have a lot of people doing a very good job with the missions, with the natives, with everywhere, and what we put in our books, that thing that is the exception, you know, the bad things in the books, because in that way, okay, we can sell the books. No, we have to put everything, okay, the whole picture. So, for example, about the differences, you see in the documents that the Spanish, they recorded it by hijo de gentiles. And gentiles mean the people that weren't baptized yet. Okay? Hijo de gentiles. And today, gentiles is a very good word. Very, very good word, right? And if we look, for example, what the Franciscan French did in Louisiana, we got that they call them savages. Just from the very origin, we have a different treatment.
This is French.
This is French. This is from Louisiana. You can see here, and born of a savages belonging to Mr. Dothé. So the people at the Spanish mission, they were free. And people at the French mission, they were savages and they were enslaved. Because it's belonging to Mr. Dothé. Just from the very base, things are very different. And this is a thing that we found in Santa Fe, and even the Americans in English, they put here savages. This now is scratch. Some people scratch this, okay? And by the way, that monolith is gone. It was in the middle, in the Plaza de Armas of Santa Fe. So there is a lot of things. We have, this document is saying that the mission, San Francisco Solano was the origin of the Mission Valero in San Antonio, was in the Rio Grande River, in the Rio Grande Valley, right? Atacames, Papanac, Payaguan, and Siahuan. So we have 4 nations living at the mission. And each one, as you see in these documents, in the rest of the documents, we have that they had a fiscal, an alguacil. Alguacil is the policeman. Fiscal is the person taking care of money. Then we have alcalde, gobernador, regidor. So one of these 4 that were living in the mission from the very origin is the governor of the whole compound, the whole mission. And then each of the nations has his own alcalde, so the mayor, right, alcalde. Then we have regidor, which is the councilman, more alcalde, and síndico. So what we have here, we put that thing with the parallelism in what happens in Spain. We have the municipal government. So the natives, inside of the mission, they have his own elected governors and mayors and all that. They were making self-government in the mission. So the friar only was teaching them how to live in Spanish. Then we have, imagine that in 500,000 words that book has, only in 2 places we have something related to enslavement, esclava and esclava. And that woman was married a mulatto libre. So that we have the question, he became a slave or she became free woman. And it's only related to people outside of the mission. Not in the mission. There is no one slave in the mission of native origin. Okay, and imagine, fue su madrina Juana María de Once, so the slave is playing as a godmother. This is impossible in Catholic Church because the godmother and the godparents are going to sub the real parents if they die. So that responsibility in the church in that time cannot be provided for a true enslaved who has not free will to do whatever. Okay? So going very fast, we have a lot of documents to show. This is the original document, right? And I'm going to very fast to go to the Presidio. Okay? So we start with the Presidio. The Presidio is the result of 10 years of investigation in everywhere, from California to Florida. It's a recollection of all documents that I got in these 10 years. So about 200 documents telling us the true history of what happened. Because in many cases, the story that we found in the textbooks, in the school textbooks, I have no words, literally. I was doing a small research, because some people asked me that last week, about the French New Orleans. And if you took, for example, Wikipedia, that is the place that everybody goes to get some idea of this, imagine that was French New Orleans for 40 years and another 40 years of Spanish New Orleans. Well, you go to English Wikipedia, Spanish doesn't exist. They go from French times to North American times, to US. So what happened with these 40 years? This is what happens with the Hispanic history in the textbooks, just disappear. Wipe out. So, I used only documents. This is documents. This is not my friend historian in the university was say something and I just copy paste and no. So the history was so corrupted that I say, okay, we have to start again. To took white, an empty notebook, and document by document, just getting the truth of the evidence. This is the only way. So, what I'm citing here is Archivo General de Indias, Archivo General de la Nación in Mexico. We have the Spanish Archive of New Mexico in Santa Fe. So I get documents from everywhere, not only in one source, but everywhere. So my point was try to be the most fair, most objective that I could. Okay? In this case, we have Expediente Oñate, the Oñate expedient. So the Oñate expedient we have two expedients in Sevilla, and each one has 800 pages, the other one has 1,200 pages. And we have two more expedients for Zaldívar, for Vicente Zaldívar, and so we have a lot of documents. If you are telling something different that I get in my book, this is because they didn't read the original documents. Because people are saying here a lot of things, and there are people trying to be famous, talking about Oñate. Oh, I researched Oñate for 20 years. What is the result? Did you publish any book? Did you write any article? No, it's only talking heads. So, documents. This is very difficult to read. You can read here Don Juan de Oñate by his own hand. So nobody invented this document. This is an escribano, how is it in English? An official writer. Copying.
Yes, it's a scribe.
The scribe, yeah.
Just in that moment, they don't have photocopies or something like that, so they have to use people just writing, right? And then came Don Juan de Oñate and just put the sign, right? So this is a real, true document. If you want to know the truth about the history, about the Oñate, about everything that happens in these surroundings, you need to go to the documents. Don't pay attention to people that is just talking and don't show you documents. Well, this is about the Presidios. One thing that I get from the Presidios is that another myth, they think that Presidio is a castle. No, it's not a castle. Presidio was the soldiers' company that came here with their families and established new towns. And many of them, much of them, we have in 300 years, we have a lot of Presidios established here, there, and everywhere. Much of them were criollos, were mestizos, were hispanize natives, more than Spanish from the Iberian Peninsula. We have very few people coming from the Spanish, from Spain, coming to conquest the north. Because in that moment, only the rich people were allowed to come to America, and the rich people are not going to the frontier to fight against the Apaches, and no. Okay, so all the conquest up north of Mexico City was made by, in the documents, appeared as Spaniards, but were just Americans, baptized or cristianized, and they call themselves Spaniards. We have all the documents saying, my name is blah blah blah, I'm a Spaniard. And then you get another document, baptismal, for example, and the baptismal will say, no, this guy is from Tlaxcaltecan origin. So in origin is a native, he was baptized, hispanized, and became Spaniard. We have, for example, in this book, I have 25 chapters talking about those documents from the 1540s to the 1700s. And it's from the very beginning in La Nueva Galicia, then Zacatecas, and Nueva Vizcaya. And then we have like three axes. One is going to the Camino Real de los Tejas in Texas. The other one is Camino Real de Tierra Adentro to Santa Fe. So I have like 4, even 5 chapters about New Mexico, Santa Fe, telling the true story about that. And for example, we have a very chapter about someone that history is treating very light, which is the governor of the Means. Maybe you know about him, or maybe not, because they are deleting the whole history, so we don't know if you. So, Gobernador Termin in the Pueblo Revolt that happens in Santa Fe saved the lives of 2,500 people. When they came to El Paso in 1680, they became to El Paso. They made a census of those people, and 2,500 people, only 20 persons were of white origin. And I'm not saying Spain. White origin means also Mexico City. Only 20. The rest were natives, criollos, mestizos, mulattoes, black people even. So when the narrative of the Museum of Santa Fe, for the History Museum of Santa Fe, which is a beautiful museum, but the narrative is very broad. And they are trying right now to wedge the face of the natives. And the natives, the problem is that they were in a Stone Age. They were living in a Stone Age in that moment. And all of this is writing in this book. And I'm from Spain, yes. But after 10 years that I'm working in San Antonio with Apache organization, with descendants of the mission, I can swear to you that I am empathetic with all native people. The thing of this book is I say, okay, we need to start again with the truth and just by the truth. So natives in that moment were very behind in the evolution. And some of them were pacific, and some of them were very aggressive. And they were even doing anthropophagy, right? Cannibals. Some of them. And we have to show everything, because people want to talk about something, but not about the bad things. Okay, no, this is not just, this is not fair. So, what the Museum of Santa Fe is saying, that the natives just invited the Spaniards to leave, and nobody died in Santa Fe. Well, the revolt in Santa Fe just in the first day killed 500 Spaniards that were part of those, 20 whites and 2,500 mestizos, natives. So they were fighting almost a civil war between some people that wanted to follow the Spanish rules in that time, and some people that didn't want to do it. They pushed, and in the next 8 days, the people, the royalists, the Spaniards, in this case, the Spaniards killed back another 400. So according to the narrative of the museum, nothing happened. So we have almost 1,000 people that died for nothing, because they are saying nothing happened. They just invited and pushed the Spaniards very freely out of New Mexico. And this is not what happens. And you can read in this book, you can read Spanish, because it's not in English. I'm working in the translation. The translation will came in 2025. I don't know. I'm working on that. But this is only in Spanish, and it's a reproduction of the document. And the documents are saying that these were a war of violence. Nor the Spaniard came with roses, nor the native received the Spaniards with roses. That's the truth. From now on, you read your article, your chapter, you want, because it's 25 chapters, and you can read it separately. And I'm a historian, an academicist, but I feel, when I came here, I feel that we have two gaps to fill. The first one is that the academicists, the scholars, are far from the street. So we have a lot of documents that writing in the universities that doesn't go to the streets. And people can read it. This is full of gibberish, right? So with this book is that what I did. I use a very common language, very normal language, because between one document and the other, I have to feel telling the context and all of that. So it doesn't add if you are using the original words of people of the 300 years ago. Very, very easy to read. And I'm starting to say, oh, I am the best historian in the world, and I'm using a language that nobody can read. So I'm using the same language in what I add than in the document. So it's like an adventure book, like a novel, but with the original main characters on this history. And the other guy is that we were writing the history only about myths and about legends and about lies, and not about the true histories. And this is what I make my best effort to do. Well, the first one about the Presidios. The Presidios, the legend is that they were living in castles. This is not true. They were living in just towns. They were towns in a dome, like in Spain. They were the same way in Spain, and they put the same governors, the same thing that they were using in Spain. So this is a very real parallelism. How the people live in America, how the people live in Spain. Not better, not worse. Okay? So the second is, los soldados de cuera. Dragones de cuera. They were dressing like this. This is the only one I see in my whole life, and it's in Toledo, in the Museo del Ejército in Toledo. The other that you can see around here are just replicas and bad replicas. So the only one I see is this one. But this is something that came to America in the 18th century, and we have presidiums for the 16th century and the 17th century. How they were dressed with cota. Everything that you pull the thread is a myth, is something that you have to correct because people wanted to tell a different story. This is a very old map. Okay, the soldiers were dressed in this way. Cota, okay, gray color, cota. This one, gray color. Cota, and they were the soldiers, and the soldiers were dressing the horses with hides. Okay? And we have the same. For example, they said, okay, no, the soldiers came here, they were Spaniards, they were killing everybody, blah, blah, blah. No, because we have a very small company. We have just like 12, 20 people, 20 soldiers that were accompanied by maybe 200, 300 indios flecheros. People from the missions, people, Pacific Indians that were working for the Spanish government, and they received a wage. Short wage, but don't think that the soldiers had a huge wage. Okay? So, two reales day for each Indian. 2 reales. They were paying, and we have this in the law. So, we have those Indians are first. This is a long bow. And a long bow, why? Because they were infantry. They were walking next to the soldiers. And long bow is more or less the same size that the warrior, because they throw the arrows in a vertical way. But very soon, natives, enemies, and friends starting to ride horses, and even better than the Spaniards. So they need to invent a short bow, because the big one you cannot, being riding a horses, you cannot pass from the short bow more strong to put it in a horizontal way and shoot the arrows from one side to the other. So even then, we're innovating. This is a chimal and defensa of the natives, and this is the Spanish one. They have, for example, this thing here. I'll just put the arquebus on top of the shield. And why the natives, they were writing so good? Because they were very thin, just adding few pounds to the horse. And when the Spaniards wanted to reach the enemies, they were a long time ago. Because the Spaniards were with the Cota de Maya, with the arquebus, with everything, putting around 350 pounds on top of the horse. Okay, so they were made for that. The natives were made for white horses. We have more, for example, about this. Pedro de la Cruz de Nación Tlaxcalteca, a soldier of the Presidio. Tlaxcalteca nation. Another one, Indio Tlaxcalteca, de Paso, Soldados. So this is they were telling us, lying us about they were all Spaniards killing everybody in this. Very few Spaniards came here. And they bring a different culture, a different civilization. And many of the natives adopted that way of life, that way of do things, and they became Spaniards. So about the three axes, right? So we have the Santa Fe. My book stops here, around here. Because it's I have a second volume, and the second volume is from 1700 to the 18th century. But this book has 400 pages, and at the 18th century will be 1,000 pages. So I had to cut it in the 1700s. So you will read the conquest, the Hispanization of this, which is the Nueva Vizcaya, the Sonora and Sinaloa part, and for the second volume we will have the Texas and the California. In this book is the Santa Fe Trail, the Camino Real de Tierra Adentro, and the revolution of the natives in 1680, and then the reconquest of Barcas. Okay? Another thing, they say, no, Barcas came and the Indians accept him. Now they have to even to fight. So I don't know why. All the narratives is about nobody fight here. It was a paradise. No fighting, no one dead. No, it was a very violent place. So many people died. In both sides. Presidio de San Antonio de Teja, the Presidio of San Antonio has 72 soldiers. 34 were keeping the caballada, the horse, all the horses they have for the Presidio. So you have half of the soldiers just taking care of the horses. What you get is that for a territory the size of Texas, imagine how big it is. I came from San Antonio, 9 hours driving only from San Antonio. You have 8 hours to the other side. So only the half of the 72, around 20, 30 people, 30 soldiers, taking care of the whole country like this, Texas. So now, explain how this 20 criollos, mestizos, and Tlaxcaltecos dressed as Spaniards could annihilate the, I don't know, now it's around 100 million native kills in Tehuacán. So many. So please, just tell the truth. With the truth, and this is an asking I'm doing for every scholar. Tell the truth. Because with the truth, you can progress. And you can get, if you lie a little bit, then to hide that little lie, you need to invent a big lie, and a big lie, and a big lie, and it happens that in the 21st century, we don't know the truth. It's very difficult to get the truth. You know, this is the Santa Fe. I think we are running out of time yet.
Oh, you're okay.
Yeah.
You're fine.
So you know, this is La Bajada, right? So I did my job. I documented myself. I've been to the places. I was this morning with Martha Vera checking the Paso del Norte where supposed Oñate crossed the river, because I need to check, because I'm an archaeologist. I'm not just a historian. A historian is the people that read the document and okay. No, I need to go there and check if the document is true, that it's telling the truth, or if there is a doubt or not. It's clear, because I'm an archaeologist. An archaeologist is, the historian is about kings, about the wars, about the big things, but the archaeologist is the one who put the foot on the field and need to know the truth about the common people. Okay? So the history is telling us how the Tlatoani Moctezuma lived in Mexico City, of the King Philip III living in Spain. This is the history. Most of the documents are talking about this. But the archaeologist is, okay, they live like kings, but the common people, how they live. This is the truth. And this is what I made I have more than 200 documents. But the rest of the documents are telling histories that are not interested to get the truth of the common people. This is the most important thing, the common people. So Santa Fe, and coming here, you can find, for example, this. Imagine those soldiers going here. This is not here. This is Arizona. Just the other. And from here to there, maybe 40 miles. And imagine that you can walk, I don't know, 10 miles per day. So you need water and when you get food, and imagine those big expeditions with Oñate or Odelmin coming through this countryside. It's crazy. And what you find here is Arizona. Yeah. But the problem is a very dry place. But the problem in the other side in Texas is the excess of water. Too much water in Texas. And because in many occasions, the history was told by Hollywood. So we have the idea that you are in Texas, but you can go to the East Texas. It's very different, right? So Hollywood need to show the record in places that resemble the old times, but in Texas everything is changed by the human. So they need to, okay, we're in Texas and they were shooting in Arizona. We have the idea that Texas is very dry. It's very dry in this part, and not in the rest of the state. And the problem in East Texas is the same, excess of the water. This is the Paso de Francia. It was the first expeditions go from Guerrero, Coahuila in Mexico, across the river, the Rio Grande River, and go to the today's the United States. Okay, and from there they go to San Antonio, to founding San Antonio, to go to East Texas. This is the Camino Real today. Okay, so we have a good heritage that we have to preserve, and now we have to take to light, because they were for 200 years just hiding it. Now this is Hispanic, yes, erasing. But Hispanic is about everybody. Everybody is Hispanic. And they were even saying, now Hispanic is a bad word. We need to be Latins, right? Why Latins? We're speaking Spanish. We're Hispanics. We should be proud. And you are foreigners coming to the country of Hispanics, of Mexicans, of Spaniards. This is a picture I took in the Sur Rose University. They have a true arrows of the natives. So all of this is explained in my book. Okay? And in my book has a lot of everything that you can read in cursive. That means is the real document, copy letter by letter, comma by comma. Okay? And this is the history. The natives were the same south of the border and north of the border. So way they depict in that way. Now the Mexicans are very violent, very violent. Our natives, our natives are like angels. So they are manipulating us every day, everywhere. So we need to do our own research. I'm giving you documents. Read it and then do your own research. Okay? So, this is, we have Apaches. Yes, this is from the book of the Baptismal, you asked me. We have Apaches, we have Jarames. Everything is recorded on the book of the Mission. And at the end, what does Spain bring you? What's the difference between this and this? There is no difference. People in Coahuila and Texas were living like the Spaniards. This is from the north of Spain, Asturias. Okay, pictures more or less the same year. Okay, so this is what Spain brings here, the same that Spain was. Now we see, but they were very poor. You see how they live in the jacales, in the small houses. Take a look of the same images in Boston or wherever, or you know. So compare pictures in the same time. Right? And one thing, for example, that the other day with that controversy that I had about the Louisiana. So Louisiana was built with wood. How does Hispanic work? With stone, with adobe. What happens with the wood? That is just go and is the houses of the barracks and that's insane. So when they tried the Americans from the north tried to say, oh, they were like this. It's how they live. Everybody lives in that moment. So, for example, the people in the 13 colonies, they live in houses of wood that in just in 10 years or 15 years they have go down. And the Hispanics, they were living in good houses of stone. And so we are not so behind like they want to tell us. Okay? And this is some people that you can find in the book. Yes, it's Cristobal Oñate, but we have Martin de Zavala, which is a very good governor for New León in Mexico. You can ask the people from Monterrey. They don't know who was Martin de Zavala. Yes, he became a rich man and spent all his money in the people of Monterrey. He has to rebuild Monterrey 2 times and spend all the money that he get from the mines, expand in the people, rebuilding the houses. And today you ask the people of Monterrey, I don't know who is that. Oh, it's a Spaniard, bad people. Just like this. That's what I'm saying. No. Do your own research, please. And that was all. Hope you enjoyed it.
Questions?
Sí, hay que
Sí,
Or you have a question? Yes, go ahead.
I don't have so much a question as a comment, a revelation of people actually doing research and documenting what's real. So when I was young, I lived in El Paso since 1958. My dad brought me here when I was 6 from Nebraska. But, my grandparents migrated up there during the revolution in Mexico. And then we came back down here, so I was 6. And I believed what they told me. I was young. You know, I didn't really know how to read, so I believed what they told me as I went up through the school. And then as I got older, it became apparent that what they were teaching me didn't match the reality. So in 1598, people were, the Oñate took a lot of people, that was like 400 people, 500 people, families, kids, and about 120 soldiers, and a bunch of sheep and a bunch of cattle, and he did it with his own money, because Spain wanted to do it with his own money, so. And he was 48. He wasn't a soldier. That representation we have at the airport, he didn't come like that. He wasn't wearing a helmet, and he wasn't a soldier. He had been a soldier, but at 48 in 1598, you were pretty old. You were pretty old because you worked hard and you lived in the elements. So just think about him taking all the sheep, the cattle, the people, 120 soldiers to try and protect them. They didn't know how many Indians were out here. They had no idea. And as they left, their supply chain got longer and longer. So their supply chain was in Spain or now in Mexico. But as they left, their supplies ran out, and they were heading into unknown territory, and some people were, some of the natives were not friendly. So I just started to discount a lot of what I was reading, but I didn't have anything like this to back up my debating skills. So I'm very grateful to you for all your hard work, and this makes it easy for us. All your hard work makes it easy for us to become educated. Thank you.
Thank you for your words. If I tell you my experience, this is the same problem that we have in Spain right now. People are telling me that this is indigenous against whites. Now it's political, against the left, against the right. So I grew until my 46 years in a country that has this split in both. And we are teaching as Spaniards that we did a lot of bad things in America. The same that they told you is what we did in Spain.
Mm-hmm.
So I came here, okay, I was an archaeologist, and I was working as people died 500,000 years ago. Here the Argensis, imagine so. And I started a new path when I came here. Well, that was about the Texas thing. I started to put the thread, and okay, this is totally different what they teach us so far, and they are still teaching the same thing. And you go to one way, oh my goodness, you go to it's the same, and everywhere is the same. Everywhere the same lies, the same. Even the base, the very base is wrong, because they are saying, okay, the Spaniards come here and with Cristobal Colon, they kill everybody, and we have finally 300 years later we kill them, and they just board the ships and nonsense, it's idiocy, right? Because the only thing that happens in 1821 is that those people, these people, just put down the Spanish flag and rise the Mexican flag. They are the same people. So you are asking, ask yourself, they say, no, you Spaniard, you kill everybody. I am the first American in my family. But I know that there are some Garcias that came to America, that are the ancestors of the people that are accusing me to do something. Ask your ancestors. But it's what I'm saying. When they are just sort of for the world, when they just spreading shit, and I'm asking them, please show me the proofs. Because yes, we have bad people. I'm the first to recognize. But if you try to prove it, you start to investigate. And when you start to investigate, to do your own research, you begin to see, to be a different person. And it's my experience as well. And you get different narratives and different stories. I mean, you are smart enough, you say, okay, they were lying to us. But people are not so smart. I made a couple of mistakes in my book. And in some of my presentations, someone said, no, you are wrong because da. And I said, okay, no problem, I will check it. I checked it, and I was wrong. I changed my book. It wasn't so important. But that's the point. You are not perfect. You are not in possession of the true thing. But if someone proves you the opposite, accept it. This is the way to become better and change it. Because this is something, I put 1 year of my life in that book. So I want that book to be a book in the shelves of people even when I will be gone. So this is what I want. This is not about money. We authors, we get $1 for each book. People are saying, no, you want to sell books. Okay, I want to sell books, yes, but because I want to spread what my findings are, but this is not about money. I don't want money. I want to spread the word, and I want that book is not something that you throw to the basket in 2 years. I want that book is, and it happens with this. Nobody did this, the transcription of the mission. This book, and in 200 years, nobody did this. Nobody took the time to do this. I took the time, I did quite easily, it's not so difficult to read in Spanish in that time to transcribe, and nobody will do it again. So more than those books about the missions, this is something that maybe in 1,000 years people will keep using. So and believe me, I do this because I had some people from the Humano nation a couple of years ago, and that woman was hugging me. Oh, thank you to you. I found 12 of my ancestors. And I was like, okay. It was scary because it's the point that you okay, so what I did, and I felt that it was just nothing, is important for many living people.
You opened the door. That's what you're doing. That's all.
So the next question, and I haven't answered it completely, you answered it partially, when you talked about 1821, was why did they want us to believe that story that we were told? Why did they want us to believe that?
When you are a princess and you want to become a king, the only way is to kill the king and then to erase his heritage. Because if you are not better than your father, so nobody will remember you. So Mexico is the is inheritance? No, I don't know the word. Mexico is the successor of Spain. What they need to kill the king, to bad about this, now we are going to do better, the same that we are using today for politics. So you take the chair of the president, wherever, what spread shit about the predecessor. And then that is the way to, oh, I'm the good one right now. This is what is about politics. It's everything about politics. And Mexico did that. And it is the worst place for Hispanics, because the politicians they have for this 200 years were, I'm sorry to say that, maybe some people get offended, but we're so corrupted that they spread. That doesn't happen in some places like Argentina or like in Peru. Mexico is the paradigm of this, and it's crazy. Mexico was the most rich place in the world 200 years ago, the most rich place in the world, and now. So it could be better even than the United States. But if I am the head of the mouse, it's better than to be the tail of the lion. And the politicians have some myopia. So when you only see short-sighted, and my pocket, and that's it. And this is something that we are suffering all we are suffering the same way. That's the Spanish.
Oh yeah. It's not good right now.
So I understand that the history in Spain, there's a lot of, I guess, drama in the sense of like governors versus governors or conquistadors versus governors. And so each of the side probably have their own letters describing a situation. In your book, do you kind of provide those kind of 2 points of the competing claim?
I put everything that I found.
Okay.
So I make my best effort to be fair. And believe me that I was surprised. I learned a lot with this book. This is not a book that came from my mind. This is a book that I was reading on document. My goodness, what this document is saying, that this chapter, this concrete chapter of the history is totally different than what, okay. So my first idea was to do a copy-paste book, 3 months, and okay. That was my first idea. I started to take document after document and say, no, we have to publish this. Because what they do so far is to tell you small pieces of history here, there. And they took only the pieces that match their interest.
Who's they?
The people writing history so far in the United States.
Well, I'm talking about, even at the time that there were still competing claims for certain issues, Cortez versus, I don't know, certain.
Nuño Beltrán de Guzmán, for example.
Right, so they wrote their own letters to the king, different versions of that event. And I'm sure that's throughout, whether it's Spain or English or whatever.
This is I know. This is a part that I didn't want to unveil, but this is a part that is in this book. So in most of the cases we have a process. Okay, so Nuño Beltrán de Guzmán was one of our black sheep. He was Spaniard, and he was the worst. Yes, and we have documents for it. And I talk about him just because it's not about Presidio. This book is about Presidio. So I need to give some context, and I talk about Nuño Beltrán de Guzmán. Nuño Beltrán de Guzmán denounced Hernán Cortés. And the point in that moment for the crown was to protect the natives at all costs, because the crown wanted a peaceful land. Because a peaceful land, you can grow, you can get profit of the peaceful land. If you treat bad the people living in that land, you have a war. And what happens with war? That nobody gets profit of the land and everybody flew. So the crown in Spain realized very soon that don't touch the natives because they make a mess. Everything you treat them bad, and they kill families and they go to the mountain. So please don't touch the natives. But everywhere we have bad people, and the crown was making a corpus of laws to protect the natives, and we have the laws. But no all people follow the rules. So one thing about everything was to protect the natives. So the rivals, political rivals, like Hernán Cortés and Núñez Beltrán de Guzmán, were crossing the noses. No, you are treating bad the natives. What you have to do? We have denounce what you do. No, they just do something. Nobody care about you. Nobody pay attention to you. So you have to lie. You have to denounce it. You have to lie to make it bigger. They were decapitating, beheading. They were doing everything. So in that moment, the ground said, "Okay, go Hernán Cortés," and put him on jail, send him to Spain, and we are going to analyze this. And then there is not only Hernán Cortés, we have one. And what you need to do, the denounce, and then we have the witnesses, and the witnesses you have the judges, and this is like a 1,000 pages of documents, right? And then maybe you have a condemnation. When they find you guilty and conviction. And after the conviction, there is an appeal, and so you have all these documents to read. What people were doing so far, taking the first one, with all the lies of the nose. And this is what we have. So what I'm doing in my book is saying, no, read everything. And if you go to Wikipedia right now, we have people like Luis de Carvajal. No, I don't know if you know him. It was Nuevo León, Monterrey, north of Mexico. Gaspar Castaño de Sosa was even first before Oñate. He was Taos and Pecos, and they were rivals, political rivals with the viceroys in that moment. That they were so corrupted. So what they say, what they do, but denounces about mistreatment of the natives, against Luis Carvajal and Castaño de Sosa. The Spaniards put them on jail. After 10 years, the appeal coming from Spain, they said you don't have a proof that those people were convicts. What happens? That they died a long time ago. So the problem is that it's not like today that we can change information and get the truth. In that moment is one ship going to Spain, then they study the documents, the proofs, and another ship coming to here. 1 decade, 10 years. And the basic is that they use only the denounce and not the whole process. So took the whole process, please. And this is what I'm doing in the job. So put in everything that I found. And sometimes you will get surprises like me. I discover some bad people, Spaniards, and it's right in the book. And I discovered good people that were bad for the American historiography, and I discovered it. I do my best to be impartial, to be fair with, and I was afraid because this is a book for Spain. This is a book for Spain. It's written in Spanish, and I'm living here in San Antonio. One day I was giving a presentation about the missions, and in Spain they no, we need to meet you, and you need to do presentation for us, and blah, blah, blah. Okay, I have nothing written in Spanish, so I read the book. And was a book only for Spain, and when I published the book, I started to realize that a lot of descendants of the people in the book are asking for the book. So even it's more important for people here than in Spain. So I was afraid because now in Spain we have two sides, right? The one left and the one right that is, oh, Spanish is the best and we are like angels and blah blah blah. No, I'm not following this path. And I was afraid because this book is complicated to read for a Spaniard because it's telling some truths that is hurting them in Spain. So if you can read Spanish, get the book, and it's the only thing. You don't have money, you don't need to buy it. Just ask the library, but I'm sure that at the end you get the book because I'm trying to be honest in this. I started this presentation to say my only way to fight against the system here, the school system, the white system, is to be honest and to be with the truth. It's the only way. If not, then yes, leave because you don't have a place here. So this is more or less what you wanted, right? What? More questions? No?
¿Vas a hacer más presentaciones en Texas or?
My agent.
Yes, he's gonna be speaking in Texas, in Arizona, New Mexico, so, he's gonna be going, not already to Santa Barbara, California, so we're doing that. One of the things that we're working on, as we said, is to try to erase the history that's been talked about that's negative. We want the truth to come out. We want people to know what really happened, because you know what? When we know what happens, we know where we're going. If you're lying about things, well, you're just trying to cover up things. And like you said, the lie gets bigger and bigger and bigger. I don't know if how many of you have actually, when I was little and growing up, I went to a school where there were no Hispanics. There were two of us. We would hold hands because we didn't know how to speak English. We were in first grade. When we started learning how to speak English, we heard about how bad we were. Well, why were we bad? What made me bad? Why didn't they want to accept me? So that was the time when I thought, I want to know the truth. What is it that causes discrimination? What is it that causes people to not want to educate a certain group? Because all of us need to know who we are. And when we know who we are, and now that I've been reading the archives, I am so proud of La Hispanidad, all of us, all over the world. Because now we're the largest buying power. We're getting educated. So people are listening. And when I started looking into our history, and I became Honorary Consul, and then I learned about so many of the Jesus de Ávila, who I've been studying very, very carefully because I know she's part of our history here. I learned so much more. And both Dr. Jorge Luis Garcia and I were advisors on this publication that was done in Spain. This book we are giving to you.
It's free.
It's free. So I wanted you all to go in here. It's bilingual. It's very well done. It's about some of the contributions that Spain did for our country. What Spain did for La Hispanidad, it brought us all together with a common language. A language that many Hispanos don't even speak right now and don't understand. But that was one of the things that unified us, and which is wonderful. The other thing is, did you all know that America, the United States of America, would not have been the United States of America without Spain? Does anybody know that Spain was the strength behind the 13 colonies. Because the 13 colonies, the people that were fighting, and they had, George Washington had no money. And the people that were trying to fight against, and that's all in here, the people that were trying to fight against the British were starting to think like, I'm not sure that I want to keep fighting because they couldn't get paid. So George Washington goes to France and says, I need some money and I need soldiers. Can you all help me fight against the British? And the French say, you know what? We just lost the French and Indian War, but why don't you go to Spain? And he said, I don't know how to speak Spanish. Well, guess what? In those 40 years that Louisiana was part of Spain, that's where you get a lot of the architecture, of the Spanish architecture. That's what made New Orleans so great. New Orleans had been a slave trade place. When Spain took over, guess what happened?
The big place of trade, slave trade was New Orleans.
Yeah, so slave trade was annihilated.
And Spain came and say, okay, we have some rules, you cannot sell the slaves. So, and the French doing the trade, they say, okay, we are home, we are make war against you. So they have to punish 5 or 6 of the cabecillas
And the French leaders.
the French leaders of that. Now we have rules because you didn't have rules. So and if you go to Wikipedia, it's French and United States. And what is Spain? Spain was the bad guy putting the limits and putting the laws and and we don't like limits, we don't like laws.
So Spain.
It's once after another, it's always the same.
Spain was the first to abolish slavery. Spain was the first to have a person of color be a professor in Granada back in like 1500s. The first ones, and Queen Isabella was the one that said, you know, you can marry anybody you want. I don't care what color you are, but I care if they're Catholic. I care if they care about that they believe in Jesus. You know, and that was her main thing. So I recommend that you read this booklet. It also talks about, you know, our dollar was the Spanish word for the coin. El ocho real was the global currency.
Peso.
El peso. So yes, that was Spanish. How about our dollar sign? Does anybody know about our dollar sign? The dollar sign is the plus ultra, which is part of the Spanish crest.
2 columns.
The 2 columns with the squiggly line
For Spain.
for Spain. So our dollar sign is Spanish. La Quinta, does anybody know about La Quinta, the hotel? It's named after La Quinta that was given to the king. So when everybody said Spain took all the gold stayed here. When you go to Mexico, go to the churches, the gold is there. The gold was building beautiful cities. 1/5 went to the king. And guess what? What were they using that 5th for? To pay soldiers, to pay people, because they were fighting against the British in England. In Europe. So money was not, they were not greedy. That 4/5 stayed here to benefit the country, to build schools, the first universities, the first libraries, the first pharmacies. And it's just amazing. I get so excited about this because, yeah, we had a lot of firsts. And so that's something to be really proud of. The first architects to bring a special kind of architecture to our country. So
The point is empty your mind about prejudices and start from scratch and investigate. Okay, I think they teach me this. Okay, let's go and investigate. Let's do it. And I guarantee you that the investigation I made this is new for me, and I came here, starting document by document, oh, this is changing, this is different, this is what, and open your eyes. So it's the same process. Is my recommendation for you. Start with new documents. If you don't read Spanish, don't worry, get someone. We have a lot of Spanish speakers here around us that can translate for you the document, because this is another thing. Nah, Spanish is poor. We don't need to speak Spanish. If you are speaking both languages, you are really smart. No, I only want to speak English, and this is happening everywhere. So get someone who can translate you the Spanish documents and get to the truth.
Yo le decía a Sebastián que es muy curioso porque quieren borrar toda la historia de España. Vamos a hablar de aquí porque aquí estamos. Pero los negocios más productivos, los negocios millonarios, se les olvida que el ganado, todas las frutas de California, se les olvida el negocio de caballos, se les olvida el negocio de puercos, o sea, todo lo que los españoles trajeron, ahí se les olvida, pero no es que se les olvide a lo mejor, es porque no se los han enseñado, que esa es otra historia, ¿verdad? Que no en México, las universidades, ¿quiénes fueron las universidades? Los españoles, sí, entonces no es una cosa justa. Quieres borrar, pero al mismo tiempo ganas de lo que estás borrando, te lo trajeron.
No me gusta meterme en política, pero hace pocos años el presidente de México, ¿te acuerdas? Que hizo una carta para el rey de España nos tiene que pedir perdón. ¿A quién? A ti. ¿A ti te va a pagar? Por favor. Un año después estaba en Nueva York diciendo, oh, las primeras universidades eran mexicanas.
No. Por eso me río porque sé de eso.
O todos tontos o todos listos. Pero
dicen en mi tierra, o todos poludos, o todos con cola, o todos rabones.
en mi tierra dicen cosas peores. No las puedo decir.
Entonces no es justo, ¿verdad? Hay que
Por
buscar.
eso yo digo, esta es la verdad. Vamos a empezar de cero otra vez. Y hacer vuestra investigación, ¿verdad? A mí me ha cambiado como persona. No este libro, sino y lo que he estado haciendo aquí estos 10 años me ha cambiado, porque yo venía de España con prejuicios, que mi sistema educativo me había puesto igual que el mexicano, igual que la SEP. La SEP es lo peor que tiene México. Educa personas buenas, inteligentes, sin prejuicios, edúcalas. No hagas gente con prejuicios raciales, no, eso es muy malo. Pues en España tenemos el mismo sistema. Yo venía con ese sistema, con la idea de no, en América se hizo cosas malas, es mejor no tocarlo, ¿no? Y yo estudiaba personas con 500.000 de años muertas, las piedritas, y vine aquí, bueno, tengo que empezar de cero, ¿con qué empiezo? Bueno, empezamos con eso, y me cambió la vida, porque he descubierto que la gente no se hace idea de cómo han mentido en todos los temas absolutamente.
Así es.
No hay ni un solo tema que no agarres y digas, oye, por favor.
A mí alguien aquí me dijo, nuestra tierra, y le dije con todo respeto,
Blanquito.
sí. Con todo respeto, y hace rato lo comenté, estas tierras no eran ni de España, ni de México, ni de ustedes, menos, era de los nativos. Entonces, ¿por qué dices que es mi tierra? No es tu tierra. Ni cuando me dicen, es que nos robaron. En México, por ejemplo, que me dicen, es que nos robaron. No te robaron nada, porque no era ni tuyo siquiera, ni de los que llegaron los españoles, no era. ¿Qué te van a robar si no era tuyo? Pero bueno, en fin, eso es algo que hay que trabajar
Ellos
mucho.
dicen ahora, no, España le quitó la tierra a la gente. España está allí al otro lado del Atlántico, no se llevó la tierra sigue en posesión de quien la tenía o de quien se la quedó, pero que ya no es español, es mexicano. ¿Sí? Cuando nos dicen, no, es que se llevaron el oro, no, pregunta a las grandes fortunas en Colombia, en Venezuela, en México, todos esos riqueza que vas a Taxco en México. Tú ves esa catedral, esa belleza, ese dinero que hay ahí dentro, no lo hay en España. Porque primero no llegó y segundo es más sobrio. Pero esa riqueza del barroco mexicano, aprecienla.
Y gracias a las minas que también quien me enseñó a trabajar en las minas.
¿De quién son ahora las minas? Bueno, espero que les haya gustado.
Muchas gracias.
Sí, una pregunta.
Yo quiero agradecerle, buenas tardes a todos. Quiero agradecerle esta visita a estos territorios del septentrión, porque no sé si es la primera vez que nos visita por acá.
Bueno, yo vivo en San Antonio, llevo 10 años
Vive
allí.
en San Antonio.
Y así he venido alguna vez aquí, pero no he venido a dar conferencia. Es la primera vez.
Bueno, yo estaba pensando ahorita en sus comentarios, hacer una cordial invitación, gracias a Martha Vera que ya nos ha acompañado. Yo soy de Jano Chihuahua, soy el cronista del municipio, y pues todo lo que mencionó ahorita nos relaciona mucho con Janos, y sobre todo pues no cabe duda que la cultura sigue cruzando los mares, y de allá para acá y de aquí para allá estamos descubriendo todavía. Acabo de mirar aquí en el libro, dentro de la línea de presidios, el Real Presidio de Janos.
Sí.
Pues fue uno de los caminos también que no se conectó del camino real de tierra adentro, ni el camino real a California, ni el camino de tierra adentro de Texas.
No, estaba un poco apartado.
Pero tenemos caminos españoles, rutas de herradura. Entonces, si el tiempo amerita con ustedes, hice una cordial invitación.
No hoy, pero la próxima vez que venga lo
Sí,
arreglamos.
cuando se
Encantado.
viene, porque ese problema lo tenemos allí. La mayoría de apellidos, pues todos los soldados y los del presidio pues eran de los vascos, y todavía fluyen esos apellidos. Nos fluye la sangre, pero nos reniegan mucho. Y pues es que si renegamos de lo español del pasado, pues estamos renegando de la sangre de nuestros abuelos, nuestros bisabuelos.
Lo que no entienden es que
Ahí
se bajó
está.
una bandera y se subió otra. Los que entonces eran españoles ahora son mexicanos. Y estás renunciando a toda tu herencia, una herencia riquísima, estás renunciando. ¿Por qué?
Incluso hay personas que me preguntan, pero ¿por qué tú hablas mucho de España, los españoles, del presidio? Pues porque la historia ahí está. Nuestros antepasados, nuestros abuelos ahí ya hacen bajo ese subsuelo antiguo. Ahora, reniegan de lo español, pero sí vacacionan en pueblos mágicos, que los pueblos mágicos, la mayoría es arquitectura española, lo acabo de mencionar. No vienen a lo nuestro y no tenemos esa infraestructura, y reniegan porque no hemos avanzado en 300 años. Cumplimos 306. Marta nos hizo el honor de acompañarnos el tricentenario, que también fue una fundación en 1717. Fue a causa de la expulsión de los españoles de Nuevo México, en Pueblo Revuelto. Y pues en 300 años es la primera vez que se celebra el aniversario de fundación.
¿No lo han querido celebrar antes?
¿Perdón?
¿No lo quisieron celebrar antes?
Todavía nos ha sido difícil convencerlos de nuestra historia. Tan envueltos en ese mundo político, y lo más lo acabo de mencionar, hay que separar eso, pero parece que lo mezclan, se fusionan, y mientras andan en campaña, pues sí se menciona la historia, la cultura, los avances, y nomás llegan. Desde los templetes, si llegamos al ayuntamiento, a la presidencia, trabajaremos en gobierno y sociedad para el desarrollo de nuestros pueblos. Y nomás llegan y las puertas se cierran para muchas personas. No se puede, o tocan la puerta y salen por la de atrás y no se arregla nada. Entonces, yo sí celebro esa invitación. Si no es esta temporada, pues, porque sí se amerita estas pláticas. Tenemos todo, pero si lo hemos explicado, qué bueno que está escribiendo sobre el presidio.
Hago lo que puedo.
Sobre el presidio, bueno, no, ahorita vamos a ver cómo está el libro, pero tiene que...
No solo es del presidio, es de todo. Porque el presidio, el concepto que hay es que eran militares. Venían militares, no eran personas con familia, venían con toda su familia. Ellos sí defendían el territorio como militares, pero luego construían su casa, su familia vivía ahí, protegían también su familia.
Sí, la palabra presidio, pues ahora que el presidio, pero globalmente es presidio. De hecho, tenemos en los récords de sepultura al primer gobernador de Texas, que lo mencionó ahorita, Domingo Terán de los Ríos.
Ajá.
Está sepultado en el altar mayor de la misión.
Pues estaré encantado de ir a verlo.
Entonces no, pero la sociedad y gobierno, si no, no se puede.
Pues ahorita a lo mejor no, porque el presidente ahorita no va a dejar. Sí.
Pero como sociedad también podemos rescatar lo nuestro, porque si uno no quiere andar el camino, vamos a andarlo. Dicen que al andar se hace camino.
Sí.
Pues,
Es el camino que estamos nosotros andando.
Sí, lo que pasa es que es como, muchas veces es como Don Quijote contra los molinos de viento.
si llegan a realizar eso, pues están cordialmente invitados o seguros para invitados. Y hacemos un buen tour, una buena conferencia.
¿Cuál es su nombre?
Mario Madrid. Pide hasta el apellido.
Mario Madrid.
Ya me dicen, ¿con qué razón defiendes tanto? No le he dicho a Martha, porque no sé por qué la madre patria siempre la trae muy pegada. Dices que la sangre ya.
Es descendiente del Capitán Madrid.
Perdón,
Que sí es descendiente del Capitán Madrid.
de Roque Madrid.
El presidio de Roque Madrid. El presidio de aquí del Paso, el capitán era Roque Madrid.
Sí,
¿Es usted descendiente
entró con de Vargas en Nuevo México. Estamos buscando esa genealogía y sobre todo de Bernardo de Galvez Madrid también. Y pues ahí estamos esas cuestiones. Y el segundo apellido es Jaques también. Pero también mi sangre, pues todos tenemos esa sangre, hombre. Esa sangre española, esa sangre nativa. Es una fusión de dos mundos, dos culturas. Pero es que yo no soy español. ¿Cómo te vas a quitar la sangre? ¿Cómo te vas a quitar los rasgos? Sí, son muy pronunciados. Hay más, pero muchas gracias y bienvenido. Gracias,
Gracias.
Cuando se animen, nos esperamos en Carlos.
Sí. Pues gracias a todos por venir. Thank you all for coming, and I hope you enjoyed the talk. And we're going to keep having more talks, and we hope that Sebastian will welcome us